Lars, welcome to the Swedish Center for Digital Innovation.
Thank you.
Could you please begin by telling us a little bit about your background?
I started my career in Aarhus and worked there up until 1986, in fact. So 10 years roughly after I graduated from my master's degree, I continued to work in Aarhus, doing my PhD in Oslo. Then from there, I moved to Aalborg and became professor there. I was very happy there for 16 years, up until 2002, when I then left for the US, and I've been there ever since at Georgia State University.
And what kind of research are you conducting at the moment?
I normally describe it in three streams. I work with digital innovation broadly across many different industries and looking at many different aspects of that complicated transformation. I focus particularly on health information technology and how that changes the way the health sector is structured, both administratively and clinically. And then finally, I stick to my traditional theme of, can I say, software development and IT management as something that I'm very interested in.
So is there one single paper you would like to point at as the one that you're the most proud of?
Many years ago, I wrote a paper which is called The Principle of Limited Reduction, and which I think is a brilliant paper. It's published in a OK journal, Information Technology and People, but it's not any paper that many people notice, but I think it's a fantastic paper. So one answer to your question is that in the stream of papers I have written, there are some that I really value myself that other people value less. And that is a surprise.
And the one that most other people value, would that be the MISQ from 2004?
Yeah, that has been extremely well cited. I think of the papers I've written, the one that is most cited of the papers is my paper on collaborative practice research. So that really, I think, connected to people and express a view of action research that is both very pragmatic, because you combine it with case studies and not necessarily reporting the research as action research, but organizing it as action research. And it allows researchers to really go into collaborative arrangements with professionals in various settings. So I think that is probably the paper that most people have cited at this point.
So it seems clear to me that you've been working in two very different but also very strong research environment, Aalborg and Georgia State University. You know, with this as a backdrop, how would you define a strong research environment?
So I think a very first characteristic of a strong research environment is that it's on the move. And then maybe at the core of it, you need skillful and persistent people. There's an interesting thing there about skill and persistence. People often ask me what's a good doctoral student, and often I say persistence is king. So if you get a student that is really hardworking and ambitious and a good collaborator, then that can take you a very, very long way.
So to us at our center, I think the skills we're trying to strive for is, on the one hand, to establish that we can publish at the very top level, but simultaneously to add value to the external partners that we're collaborating with. So the second aspect, how important is that in your mind for a strong research environment, the value added aspect to external partners?
I like in papers that we document in the papers the actual impact that can be reported from a certain research project on the problem setting in which we work. And that, of course, adds to the transparency of what you're doing. So I think that's a good discipline. But most journals don't emphasize that.
Well, I think one good example, if I may, is the paper that we wrote together in research policy, where we actually articulate in a very detailed way, the process IT project led to this many new jobs, this many new firms, this many new products or services. Exactly. And we have a table for that.
Yeah.
And I think that's refreshing, and I think it's quite unusual.
But you see, again, even that paper, I completely agree with you, but even that paper, I will emphasize it more, because how many research groups take a break and pause and think about, why did we do this project? And in the larger context of, can I say, societal evolution, does our research apply? And that is actually the story we tell in that paper. We don't look at a particular research project you did. We rather look at a whole research program, the process IT program, that unfolded over several years, and we then try to report comprehensively why that program was put together, how it unfolded, and what its impact was on society in the northern region of Sweden. And I think it is a worthwhile reporting, and it is something we rarely do as researchers, and I think we should do that more. So that is actually a very good example of a paper that really tries to pay tribute to the, can I say, engagement dimension of the research rather than just the academic impact.
So looking at your career, it's safe to say that academia has evolved quite a lot and continues to evolve. With that in mind, what would your recommendation be for young scholars starting out?
I like the notion. I think it was John King and Kalle Littinen that said that our discipline is like a boat that is constantly rocking. If you don't like the boat is rocking, then go somewhere else. You're not sitting on a ferry that goes here and then back again. You're in a rocking boat all the time. And if you don't like that kind of, can I say, dynamism in your situation, where a year from now maybe we're talking about something else and things are constantly changing, then you should go to another discipline. So embrace the dynamics of the discipline and have fun trying to work on it. And maybe as a last piece of advice, strengthen your network of collaborators. Work with other people. There are many smart people around, and by joining forces with other people that have complementary skills or can reinforce some of your strengths, it will be more fun, but it will also be much better research you'll do, I'm pretty sure.
So building on this idea of the IS discipline as a rocking boat, what do you consider to be the major opportunities and challenges for the field as a whole?
Just because of the tremendous penetration of information technology in society, big data has popped up as a very important theme. And this is not something that is particular for us. This is something that will penetrate all sorts of research. And I think that is both a very exciting thing, but it's also something where caution is warranted. And maybe with the long tradition we have of understanding what technology can do and not do, and what data can do and not do, I think we have an important say in that debate in trying to work with others to utilize the availability of all these electronic traces, but also in cautioning too much optimism about the way that you approach that when you're a researcher and a manager.
And this will of course require that we are sort of continuously moving when it comes to, I guess, especially embracing new research methods.
I would say that one of the cautions you have about big data and sort of the super optimistic view that you can have evidence-based management and what have you is, from a qualitative point of view, the role of interpretation, the role of improvisation. And I think therefore the overlay or complementarity between traditional quantitative methods and, can I say, more qualitative reflections into a new way of doing research could be very tempting. So maybe that's one of the things we will see, that new forms of more combined methods will evolve as a result of these developments.
Well, thank you for your inspiring vision for the future, and thank you for coming.
My pleasure, Jonny. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.